Welcome to another movie plot. It begins in the Mexican city of Culiacan with an American from the Central Intelligence Agency looking to recruit a hitman. Sheldon speaks to a local about the mythical assassin known as the Mariachi, or L for short. Bellini tells the agent about the musical killer's rivalry with the ruthless General Marquez, after many years earlier using his automatic guitar to blow up his bar and group of guerrillas. L was captured in the attempted assassination, but rescued by the equally dangerous general's girlfriend Carolina, who betrayed him for love by putting a bullet in Marquez's heart to live a life with the Mariachi. It didn't last long though, as the general recovered and sought revenge, tracking L down to a hotel room where he wakes up handcuffed to Carolina and in the middle of an ambush. The two escape by daisy chaining down the side of the building using their handcuffs until being hit by a bus and using it to get away. They were married right after and went on to settle down with a daughter, but many years later Marquez tracked them down again and killed both Carolina and their young child. That's why Agent Sheldon's paying Bellini $10,000 for L's location, as he's the perfect choice to hire for killing the general. After Bellini leaves, Sheldon removes a false arm, having had no trust for the contact and holding him unknowingly at gunpoint. He later meets up with the man for more information, but his disguise is foiled by a waitress who spills coffee on his obviously fake arm, so he shoots Bellini dead and anyone else privy to his spider-like appearance. After driving out of town, he steals the informant's valuables from his socket and disposes of the body with a rock to weigh it down. Elsewhere, a guitar maker gifts the Mariachi with his latest creation as a tribute. In appreciation, L plays it as he strolls the streets but isn't around when a local cartel arrive in search of the musician. Kukui threatens the old man, who continues to protect his friend's location, getting himself blown away before L finally surrenders to save the others. The henchman apologizes to the town hero for the disrespect, before kidnapping him and returning to the bar where Sheldon's paid him good money to get the killer out of hiding. He proposes that the Mariachi kills the general only after he assassinates the president, and goes on about how his pork dish is the best he's ever tasted and is going to kill the chef afterwards to restore the balance. L accepts the mission and the agent keeps his promise to kill the cook, when we transition to El Presidente and his intention to make Mexico great again. His loyal advisor Nicholas informs him that his rival's a real threat, but the leader has faith in his people that they'll see through his opposition's lies. He's up against drug lord Armando Barillo, who's planning to just assassinate the current president and overthrow the government with the help of General Marquez. An American fugitive also under his employment named Billy's hiding out in Mexico with his pet Chihuahua. He delivers a gullible doppelganger to Armando, whose plan is to give Marquez the presidency while he uses the lookalike to fake his death and disappear. Meanwhile, the Mariachi visits a church where Sheldon, disguised as a priest, gives him the details of their mission. The moment he leaves, cartel members shoot up the church, but L slips away like a ninja. He then uses the shotgun hidden inside his guitar to shoot a falling hitman and hit the fadeaway on another. Half of Barillo's cartel attack with the Mariachi, the only one landing any bullets, and all taking a break to allow someone's grandma to safely exit. After killing the rest of the hit squad with relative ease and brutality, we leave to follow Sheldon, who's currently walking the streets of Mexico and getting accosted by a local boy to buy some bubblegum. He's organized a meeting with former FBI agent Ramírez, in hopes of also persuading him to come out of retirement and kill Barillo. They sit not 10 feet away from the crime lord himself, who murdered Ramírez's partner that he spent his whole career trying to avenge by putting Barillo behind bars but failed. Sheldon gives Ramírez a phone to get in touch and continues insisting that other people try his pork, but he's already convinced to go after Barillo and pours one out for his dead homie. Next, Sheldon goes to the bullfights, where he controls the outcome by having Kukui taser the matador, getting him nailed by the 2,000-pound beast. He talks to Nicholas about betraying the president and calls him his favorite rat, before going to visit his girlfriend Ajedrez, who's an agent of the Mexican Federal Police and is shunned by her fellow AFN operatives. She's also a traitor and conspires with Sheldon to overthrow Marquez after he's killed the president, so that the two of them can slip away with the 20 million pesos intended to pay the general's army. Elsewhere in Culiacan, the washed-up Mariachi Lorenzo's playing on stage, with his even more down and out-of-it partner Fideo. They're retired assassins long estranged from their former partner L, who's come to retrieve his guitar case and tells the two to get cleaned up before returning to the hotel room where he spent the night with Carolina. He reveals the guitar to be housing the arsenal of weapons that he'll use to take down the general, and Sheldon tasks Kukui with keeping an eye on L throughout the movie. The musicians are led inside the president's palace by the traitor Nicholas, but are first required to play music to prove their identity and easily gain access to the leaders of the nation. After an event where Lorenzo and Fideo spend the entire time complaining about the low pay they're receiving, L wants nothing more than revenge on the general and tells the boys to prepare for tomorrow. He goes to speak with Kukui, but he's switched sides and attempts to capture the Mariachi for his new boss Armando. But El fights back, killing the surrounding cartel but leaving Kukui to kill last. He leads a chase on a stolen dirt bike through the city of Culiacan and into a cactus forest, but eventually transfers over into a convertible to escape and crashes it into a roadblock. Kukui finally catches up and chooses to shoot him in the head with a tranq dart, giving the hero nightmares of his family. Meanwhile, Ramírez is monitoring Barillo's activities and notices Billy leaving his residence. Sheldon tells him to just tail him, but the agent reclaimed his retired FBI badge and uses whiteout to give the appearance that he's still on duty. He approaches Billy expecting resistance from the fugitive, but is met amicably by a regretful man who can't stomach the horrible tasks he's been forced to carry out by Barillo, like cutting off a piano teacher's hands after he makes a joke just about practicing. They make a deal to put a microphone on Billy's dog to get information from Barillo in exchange for safe relocation to America, unaware that Ramírez isn't really FBI and is instead a personal puppet for Sheldon. When Kukui arrives at Barillo's mansion, he's promptly killed by Billy as he can't be trusted anyway, while the Mariachi wakes up in captivity and promptly escapes by busting the balls of 2 cartel members and uppercutting another. He's still delirious from the sedatives and barely escapes the compound, spotting Marquez arriving to kill the president tomorrow, but he's surrounded by his troops. Once recovered, the Mariachi calls his team to get ready for the general's assault on the city, while Barillo undergoes facial reconstruction at the local hospital to disappear afterwards. Ramírez uses his double agent and wired chihuahua to tail them and notices armed men storming the building. He follows suit to discover that they've slaughtered the doctors and Barillo's laid out dead in the operating room, but when leaving, a ring hits the ground and he realizes that the corpse must be a body double due to his skinny fingers. Before he can tell anyone, Ramírez comes across the real Barillo still unrecovered from surgery, and Ajedrez, who knocks him unconscious and kidnaps him as she happens to be a triple agent. She then pays a visit to her boyfriend, who's currently enjoying his succulent pork, only to kidnap him as well and reveal herself as the drug lord's daughter and a planted spy. He's taken to her father, who says that he can't just kill a member of the CIA, but instead has his surgeon cut out the agent's eyes and leave Sheldon to blindly wander the streets of Culiacan. Because of the bell on his bike, Sheldon's able to locate the bubblegum boy and pays him to lead him around, but when the boy alerts him to the presence of a cartel member following him, a pointless shootout commences. Sheldon has no clue where the man is until he takes the boy hostage and makes the agent drop his weapon. The boy then kicks him the gun and Sheldon quickly trades bullets with the gangster, landing a perfect headshot. The victor then has the boy lead him to the center of the city where the general's army has begun the invasion that just happens to coincide with the Day of the Dead. The townspeople loyal to the president fight back with their militia, while the Mariachi sneaks inside the building through the side gate shown to him by Nicholas. His boys remain outside and aid the people in fighting back against the invading army, with weapons disguised as guitar cases consisting of a flamethrower and remote-controlled explosive used to blow up the general's artillery. Inside the palace, the traitor Nicholas leads the president downstairs where he's planned an ambush, but the Mariachis arrive to save their leader, getting the advisor killed in the crossfire. As payment for saving the president, Lorenzo and Fideo take the millions of pesos, telling him that it was gathered to fund his assassination. Meanwhile, Marquez and a group of his men storm the presidential palace but find Nicholas dead instead of their target. Inside the president's office, El confronts Marquez for the first time since the murders, and as he tries to draw his pistol, blows his kneecaps off, and without anything else to say, the Mariachi then avenges his family and escapes before the remaining guerrillas arrive. They're eventually all overrun by the villagers, leaving only Barillo and his limited number of cartel. Outside, a blind Sheldon arrives with the help of the boy to be greeted by 2 of them. He opens fire, completely missing, but uses their laughs to locate and shoot one dead, getting himself shot by the second, but then using his approaching footsteps to pinpoint and kill him also. While searching for El Presidente, Ajedrez notices Sheldon lying wounded on the ground and goes to gloat about her victory. She gives him one last kiss but is shot to death as the agents used his third arm to pull one over on his ex, and collapses after a well-respected effort. Barillo sees his daughter dead outside of the palace while Billy confronts him after releasing Ramírez. Making it known that he's killing him to avenge his partner, Barillo draws his pistol, stupidly choosing to shoot Billy just for betraying him but getting himself shot by Ramírez and finished by the Mariachi. Lorenzo and Fideo are shown walking away sporting their pockets filled and the president's safe. Once their mission's accomplished, the Mariachis part ways until the next time, as we're shown the streets of Culiacan flooded with pesos supplied by their saviors cut of the loot. Afterward, Sheldon's found by the bubblegum boy still alive and is told about the results of the civil war by his agent Ramírez, who leaves with the cheeky remark of "see you later" to a blind man. The final scene shows the Mariachi playing one final song before walking into the sunset. And the movie ends.